1, 2, 3, 4. Looking back on when we first met, I cannot escape and I cannot forget. cre'von, you're the one, you still turn me on. The Eagles won the East again. 1, 2, everybody, and welcome to another episode of This Week in Philadelphia Sports, where, as you might have guessed it, we go over everything that's happened this week in Philadelphia sports for the last time in 2019. If you're new to this channel and you somehow put up with that song at the start, make sure you leave a like and hit that subscribe button. It will be amazing to have you as part of our community. And on that note, it's the end of the year. I'm feeling generous, so if this video does hit 300 likes, as always, we'll give away a t-shirt to a random commenter, so drop your thoughts down there on the video. And really quickly, before we do get into this week's news, a massive Merry Christmas to every single one of you, and the happiest of New Year's. I hope you all spend it very responsibly and don't do anything out of line, and that 2020 brings you all the blessings possible. It has been an absolute honour bringing you this content in 2019. Hopefully it'll all stick around for the journey, and I promise I won't get too sappy at the end of this video. I say that, probably gonna cry. But before I get my Marvin's room on, it's time to twist and shout. The Eagles are in the playoffs. They beat the New York Giants 34-17, and that means that they will face the Seattle Seahawks at home next Sunday in what is now, I think, a very winnable matchup. It'll be cold, it'll be hostile, it's in Philly, and there is a renewed energy around this team. We've seen it before, and there is that mystical aura, isn't there, that some of that magic is still left over, that there is some left in the tank, and there are 3 reasons why that's still a thing, and we're going to go into all of them. Before I start gushing over cre'von LeBlanc, before I get a little bit flustered over Boston Scott, number 1, Doug Peterson may be the best coach in the NFL. He has overcome more adversity than you can possibly imagine, dating all the way back to 2016 when he had a quarterback controversy, he had contract holdouts, and half of his players going to strip clubs. That was fun. Nigel Bradham holding an umbrella, let's not forget that happened, and then getting arrested at an airport with a gun. Good effort. In 2017, we all know the story. We've all seen the Jason Kelce speech, and we have lived that narrative a million times in our minds. But still, a lot of adversity, a lot of injury. 2018 rolls around, it is much of the same again, only this time turn the injury dial up to 100, make sure you're still without Carson Wentz for the first 3 games of the season, make sure everything else just kind of blows up sporadically, you choke some games, and somehow you pull that team together and get to the playoffs for the 2nd year in a row as defending Super Bowl champions. And then, whatever the hell this has been, 2019, we have had more injuries than Charlton Athletic, who are, my little football team at this point. Not going well. We have had anonymous sources. We have had Carson Wentz's character ripped into in an off-season article, and then by another anonymous source. We've had Orlando Scandrick get onto Undisputed and like an absolute fool. And then we've got Zach Brown and a lot of injuries. Like, a lot. Did I mention injuries? Again, Peterson has rallied that locker room and galvanised it, kept the motive, keeping it 1-0 each week, and got them in a position to win games. There have been some questionable calls along the way, but there have been some damn good ones as well. And I think as a head coach who is emotionally connected to the players, remember when we all hated that because we didn't get Adam Gaze? What a universe. Doug Peterson, in times where Chip Kelly lost the locker room, in similar instances where other teams folded and have led to firings across the board, Doug Peterson kept the heart beating. He kept the blood pumping, the juices flowing, and that team pushing forward and fighting for the man next to them, regardless of who that man was. Whether it was an all-star, whether it was a 3rd round pick, or whether it was Joe who owns a cheesesteak shop, it doesn't matter. He was out there and he was fighting for the man next to him. On that note, Carson Wentz, who in my opinion has shown me more in the last month or so than he has in the last 3 years. He's literally debunked every myth in the last month. Carson Wentz isn't clutch. Where do we even begin with that? He has become a 4th quarter king out of nowhere and leads the league in just about every 4th quarter metric possible, with a pair of comeback drives, some impressive throws against the Giants. He's just been king in the 4th quarter, and that's exactly what the Eagles needed. All fans have wanted to see since day one is Carson Wentz prove he can be the guy. And I don't just mean the quarterback or the franchise quarterback. I mean someone that can step in and say, do you know what? I'll do it myself. I'll put the team on my back and I'll drag it across the line because that's what I'm paid to do. And that's what we're seeing from Carson Wentz. We're seeing the boy turn into a man. Carson Wentz is a bad man, and a lot of teams should be scared. And for those of you who aren't counting, by the way, here's what he's currently working without. Yeah, I've made a list. I thought I'll make it easier. So, no right tackle. That's Lane Johnson gone. We've also got no right guard now because Brandon Brooks is injured. Howard was still injured last week. Miles Sanders also went down with an injury, so that left Boston Scott. At wide receiver, no numbers 1, 2, or 3. Or 4, because Arthega Whiteside was about as useful as a flannel in a flash flood. Tight end number 1, Zach Ertz, he was injured, which meant that Dallas Goedert and Joshua Perkins had to step up. And I would also include on that list my sanity, because I've been without that for a solid 3 months now. Carson Wentz has become the man we all hoped he would become, and it is just an exciting time. And thirdly, the last thing that has galvanized his team is that hunger and energy of youngsters. And I don't want to be that guy, but don't you think if it was still Alshon Jeffrey and Nelson Aguilar out there, that we wouldn't be in this situation? That maybe the curtains would have been closed a bit sooner? Because I, for one, do. The heart you are seeing out of a guy like Deontay Burnett to go up and leave everything on the line for a catch is unbelievable. The heart from Greg Ward, the passion from Joshua Perkins, the desire from Boston Scott, the hustle from cre'von LeBlanc, the grind from Sidney Jones, the young guys that have been pushed into this spotlight again and again and again because the older guys can't get it done or the older guys get injured. They step up with a chip on their shoulder and they believe in themselves and they believe in that quarterback. And if there was any lingering doubt among any of the veterans, whether it be a wide receiver or a running back or whoever, that Carson Wentz couldn't be the guy, that's gone. Because the offense that's out there now are so devoted to that quarterback. They fully believe in him and he fully believes in them. And that's why he's slinging it deep to a receiver who was called off the practice squad 3 days ago. That's why he's slinging it deep to Robert Davis. That's why he's believing in Greg Ward Jr. And what a time it is for this Eagles offense. It may not have star power. It may not have some of the great talents that you see across the NFL. But what it does have is heart and togetherness. And that has never left that Eagles locker room. And it is flourishing once again along an offense that was dying, that was shriveling up, that looked like it had no life left. The last drip of fuel in the tank is dragging them over the line, and it doesn't matter who you've got. It doesn't matter what defenders face them. This team will give it their all, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is all you can really ask for. Now I've got my war speech out of the way. It's time to talk about the LJ brand, because it's been quite a year for the LJ brand, from the likes of Ronald Darby being the inflatable arm flailing tube man I projected he would be, to the emergence of my two heroes, Boston Scott and cre'von LeBlanc. And let's start with Boston Scott, okay. Howard was still injured, so didn't really get a run in this game, but Miles Sanders went down with an injury. And everyone assumed at that point, oh my god, what's going to happen? There is no running game. LJ is going to have to go and run a ball in a minute, and that is not a pretty sight. But then, we forgot about the King Boston Scott. If you've been around this channel for a while, you've seen the 2 film breakdowns, me calling him a diamond in the rough, someone that could one day fill the shoes of Darren Sproles. And we saw the preseason emergence, we saw the dance on the stream if you're around for that one, and now Boston Scott goes out, 19 carries, 54 yards, and a hat-trick to his name. He's done a Charlton, he's got himself on the score sheet, 3 rushing touchdowns, the first running back to do it since 2011 in an Eagles uniform. And then, just to add some extra spice on the dish, he has gone out and led the team in receiving yards. That is an incredible performance when the team needed it most. I don't think anyone can be dissatisfied with Boston Scott. What a day in the sunshine it was for the Louisiana Tech product. I hope he sticks around. I hope the team keep him around. He's clearly got a lot to give, and there is so much more to see from that young running back. He's a dual threat guy, the perfect hybrid of a runner and a receiver. And he wasn't as efficient as a runner as Miles Sanders, but my god, he went with just as much heart, and I couldn't be more happy for him. I could not be more happy for Boston Scott. Again, someone that I've been standing for a long, long time now. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, my heart was full, and I started 2019 a little bit heartbroken. I thought I would end it in the same, in my Marvin's Room mood. But alas, Captain cre'von looked at me across the room and said, "Hush, child. Not today." And just like when he first caught my eye in that game against the Rams last year, and I called him captain on Twitter, ever since the brand has been thriving. We have had t-shirts. Him and his mother follow me on Twitter. It has been the most wholesome part of my entire year. In this off-season, he was signed to a contract extension after suffering a Lisfranc injury. The Eagles went, "Do you know what, cre'von? You were such a hero in that game against the Saints last year that we're going to reward you for your efforts. We know what you bring to the table. We're going to keep you around another year." So he comes in. Jalen Mills is down. Ronald Darby's down. Shock. Captain cre'von, 4th and 4 with the Giants going for it. Pass breakup, no problem. What about Saquon Barkley behind the line of scrimmage, game on the line, huge tackle for a loss, don't even worry about it. We're talking get the strap, a further 3 pass breakups, 8 tackles to his name. The guy was flying around the field like a homing missile. It was amazing to see. And as someone that knew what he brought to the table, that was so excited to see him on the field last year, seeing him get back on the field after that Liz Frank injury and playing with that same intensity, that same hunger that really does energize the team around him, it's amazing. The secondary has missed that. Captain cre'von, you've got my heart. You always will. It truly does belong to you. LeBlanc, he was rejected by the Lions, he was cast aside by the Bears, has found a home as an underdog in Philadelphia, and I again could not be happier. My brand was thriving, I was smiling, and that picture of the Boston bus is absolutely rolling right now. Time to be alive, where Boston Scott and cre'von LeBlanc are carrying games for the Eagles. And hey, while we're on that note, Sidney Jones with a behind the back pass breakup and an interception after making 3 of the biggest plays in his career in the last 4 weeks. The guy has been a machine, a king in the clutch, and after a year, went through a 6-game span where he played 0 snaps. He was called out by the head coach, called out by Malcolm Jenkins, and he has now become this clutch machine, someone that wants to prove people wrong, and I couldn't be happier for him. This is a team of underdogs again in the most unconventional way. On paper, it was the most star-studded roster, and it has now been ripped down to bare bones, and we're back to what makes this Eagles team great again. It's that hunger, it's that drive, it's that determination, and what a time to be alive it really is. To the Philadelphia Flyers, before I end up bursting a vein in my face, 22, 12, and 5, they've got 49 points, and they're slowly creeping up the table. Big news this week though was that Travis Konechny is an all-star for the first time in his career. 36 games played, Konechny has registered 34 points, 11 goals and 23 assists. If we compare that to last year, finished the whole season with 49 points, it's a big improvement. Like, that's a big year for Harry Maguire. Sorry, Travis Konechny. On to the 76ers, and well, they had the Christmas cheer of beating the Greek Freak and the Milwaukee Bucks, and then it all just went away, didn't it, really? And then they literally threw away a game, and I mean threw away a game. I mean, Joel Embiid threw away a game. The Sixers need a closer. It's that simple. They've got to find a way to close out games. It's been a complaint for as long as I can remember in the Brett Brown era. And as much as seeing Mike Scott thrive and some of the young guys shine really is, we need to see something different. We've got to see a change here. Struggling from beyond the arc, and they can't rely on that interior force all game. Joel Embiid is one of the best players in the world. When he wants to be, there is that fear of kind of burning out, or whether it's laziness or just a complacency, I don't know. But the Sixers have got to iron this stuff out if they're really going to be serious about a playoff charge. And as for every other team, they're sleeping right now. So the Phillies, the Union, they're all having a little nap, which means that we can come to an end of this video. And guys, I just wanted to say a huge thank you to every single one of you. 2019 for me has been the biggest year of my life, as many of you will know. On April 19th, I was able to quit my job and do this full time. And it's been a year of growth, you know. I've had some amazing highs, like going to cover the Flyers in Prague for their season opener. There's been some lows. There's been a lot of, you know, mental health battles, and I think trying to maybe manage the business and become a leader as opposed to someone that just does this for a hobby. Like now all of a sudden, like running a team of 30 people is my everyday job, and I love every second of it, but I wouldn't be in the spot I'm in without you guys, and you give me that confidence to get up and a sign that I'm doing the right thing and making the right move. Like, I would be nothing without you guys, and everything I do, everything we do as PSN is for you lot. Like, we love you guys to death. You are truly the best community on YouTube. You're so supportive, so driven, so dedicated to the content, to the teams you follow, and we're so damn lucky to have you. So from the bottom of my heart, guys, have the most amazing Happy New Year. You get one more soppy speech coming in tomorrow's video where we're dropping this year in Philadelphia sports. Alright, that's the big one. This year in Philadelphia sports. I cannot wait to recap all that one for you guys. But until then, from myself, Liam Jenkins, I'll see you next time.